Hello and welcome back to the Kaameel Chick Day Dota channel. We have another episode of Oh No Not Another podcast here with us, and this time it's on the topic of the state of SA Dota once again. I've done one of these videos before, but this time it's going to be a little different. Last time it was me raging on the mic, salty about this, salty about that, but this time I have a more outside looks perspective, right? And I have two legends with me sharing their opinions and thoughts and insights into the scene. The one, of course, is Schlinks, and the other, Chelsea. These guys have been involved in the South African Dota scene for the last 10 years, believe it or not. Yes, these gentlemen have been playing for that long, and they give their takes on where they think the scene is right now, what it's been like in the past, and where they think it can go in the future. And of course, off time of recording this podcast is right before the VS Gaming Championships will be taking place from 12 to 14 July. So when I'm talking about this now, it's happening on the weekend, right? So we talk about the predictions for the event, who we think are the top teams, and much, much more. Hope you guys enjoy this video. And I'm joined by Mr. Chelsea and Schlinks Dota. It's SA Dota back on KC Dota channel. What's up, gentlemen? How are you guys doing this evening?
I'm doing good, man. And you?
I'm doing good. Schlinks, the last time we were on a podcast together, the fucking SA Dota scene melted. I don't know if you remember that shit.
Yeah, dude. Let's hope this time it's better. I mean, I'm sure. Darren's not gonna fire any shots at anyone, so we'll see how good it is.
Can you clear me up on what happened? I have no idea.
Alright, so let's roll back the clock to 2017, Darren. There was a podcast we did with a man named Blue Oceans, who was the manager of Donnie's team at the time. It was myself, Schlinks, and Mr. Odu, also retired player. We got on there. Schlinks called the scene trash, like as a meme, and then Odu called it clowny, which was a very accurate description at the time. And then everybody lost their shit. It was quite hilarious. And I said growing, but nobody gave a fuck about that then, you know?
I think I remember the backlash. I didn't listen to the podcast.
Thanks for supporting us, Darren. We really appreciate it. But at this point, Darren, I think the question to ask you is: can we even destroy the SA Dota scene more than it already is at this point?
Probably not, man.
Probably not. All right, so
Yeah.
obviously I know you guys. I've been buddies with you guys for a long time. I fucking love both of you. But let's give maybe an introduction for each of you. Schlinks, what's your history in SA Dota? How you got in here, and who the fuck are you, man? Give the peeps some insight.
All right, dude. I'm a Dota 1 boy. I started Dota 1 in like 2009, and I knew Kizlaka. I looked up to him back then. Still do, kind of, I guess. And then moved on to Dota 2. Met Chidawi, who I played with Dota 1. I met him in Dota 2 in like a pub. And then yeah, we've been building teams ever since. Like 2004, we went to our first like Rage events, and then 2016 and 17, we managed to win Masters. And then we kind of parted ways, and he's moved on from Dota. I'm still in it, and yeah, here we are today. I'm still trying to, come back, I guess.
I'm
That's-
back.
That's fucking epic, dude. I mean, other accomplishments that Mr. Schlinks has accomplished. He's been in the second most successful Dota team in South African history. White Rabbit Gaming. He was on top of the Dota world for the last 2 years. Obviously, last year is a bit of a disaster year. We won't talk about that. But prior to that, he's the man, right? Been to multiple WSG. That's Schlinks for you. Darren, you're also a legend, dude. Give us some background there.
I started playing Dota last year.
Yeah? Because you're very young, you know? One of the fresh guys in the scene.
10 years old. And I just started. Yeah, that's my
Well, the reason Darren's saying that is because he's actually embarrassed about how old he actually is. He's hit midlife crisis like 3 years ago already. He's gone.
I started playing Dota 1 20.
20.
When did I start playing? I don't even know anymore. 12 years
2000
ago?
and something. I don't know, like 6, 5. I don't know. How old you are, dude?
A long time ago. Dota 1, but Dota 1's irrelevant. So
Yeah,
we'll just
Dota 1's irrelevant. Talk about the Dota 2. Talk about the real jazz, man.
Yeah, I played for Veneration Gaming. That was the first DGC I went to, and then after that Bravado, and we won DGC that year. Even though WRG tried their hardest, we won that tournament, and they won the other one. And then I don't know, it all went downhill from 2013. I think I just to summarize it, it's just since 2013 it's been going downhill. Been coming third and fourth every year. I think last year was probably the worst.
Sorry.
Coincidentally playing with Schlinks in WRG.
Last year
But
was a
hopefully-
bad year, hey.
Last year, I think. Not players. I mean, I loved all the players. We just didn't really gel. Anyway, but hopefully this year it's redemption. Redemption arc.
Yeah, that's fair. So I actually didn't know you were on a LAN. Was it when you were playing in BVD Blue and BVD Black or whatever was playing at the other
Yeah.
LAN? All right, okay, that makes sense. So it doesn't really count then, Darren. I'm kidding.
DGC, I have a gold medal.
So yeah, Darren's probably the most successful third place player in South African Dota history. He's like the EG of SA Dotes, just third,
Yeah.
mountain goat. And yeah,
Very
last year you guys were teammates, but of course this year it's a bit different. I mean, last weekend you guys played against each other in WESG. Am I allowed to bring that up on this podcast, or it's a bit of a sour topic with somebody here?
Go for it, man.
All right. So I want to ask you guys. Okay, coming into the event, obviously, Darren, Tamir, Mark, they all made a new team now. This EN squad is as new, but coming into WSG event, I think Sinister 5, you guys were favorites, right, Nick?
Yeah, I would say we were favorites, and then we focused mostly on trying to, win our first match against WRG. And then, Ian took us by big surprise and managed to win. Well, spoiler alert, they won the event and they played really well. So they exploited a lot of our weaknesses, and we're looking to come back from that and change up our play style and stuff.
All right, that's cool. I mean, WSG is a big event, but I think there's more to play for in the year, right? We've got DGC coming up now, which we'll get to a bit later, and obviously Masters later on. Darren, did you guys expect to do as well as you did at WSG?
I don't know if you've met all the players on my team, but it doesn't matter how many times we lose. We always think that we're gonna win and that we're better than everyone. So, the night before, when we just spoke about Sin 5. So obviously, I wasn't there for the Goliath game. I came on Saturday for the tournaments, which is okay, I wasn't there for the Goliath game, so I don't really know about that. But obviously, the Sin 5 game, we just sat the night before and spoke about it. I did think, we were really confident going in. I about what Sin 5. I mean, I don't want to go too into depth into it, but confident in what they can play and against them or whatever. So yeah, pretty confident going in.
All right, that's fair. All right, now I want to, the kind of, obviously I'm going to get, this is like a DGC special, there's a big LAN coming up, hype before Masters, we'll get to that later, but I want to kind of set the landscape of where SA Dota is now, right? Because in my personal opinion, I don't think SA Dota is in his greatest place, but I have two gentlemen with me who have been here, I mean, for the ages in South African Dota. So let me ask you first, Links, where do you think Dota is right now, and where do you think it's been, how do you think it is relative to the years past?
Alright, so yeah, right now, SA Dota, I mean, well, it's a double-edged sword, I think, with a lot of players leaving and going overseas. It's been kind of a big wrench to SA Dota, but also at the same time, we saw recently how Charles was doing really well overseas, made into the close qualifier. Shout out to him, the first SA player to make it into make it that far.
Yeah, for sure. Good.
And there's big hope for SA players who want to make the move, and it shows how possible it is. I just heard that there's some players coming back to SA and competing again. That's really exciting to hear. That the SA scene is starting to spice up a bit. And with the most recent drama with some players having to leave the scene, I'm hoping temporarily, but we'll see how that goes. I don't know. It's looking up for it's looking like it's gonna go well for the Masters. I hope maybe some players can come back or whatever. But that's basically it.
That's a very PMA answer. I think you learned your lesson on the last podcast where we quote-unquote destroyed the scene, right?
Yeah, it was a different place back then, dude. Things were very different. But now, we just have to try, bring it back to maybe what it was, the SA Dota scene. And like you said, just be PMA about it.
Yeah, for sure. I think a topic that's obviously been addressed a lot, like you mentioned, a couple of players leaving the scenes. We had this massive racism issue going on in South Africa Dota. I think it's been going on for a long time. It's just now it's come to light, right? So I think in terms of bringing new players into the scene, it's always a weird thing when you have to deal with the constant level of toxicity, racism, that kind of stuff in the Dota context in South Africa. So that's always been an issue, I think, for me. I think hopefully maybe mentality will change at some point where people are more PMA and more welcoming to new players. But for the moment, it's Dota and it's a fucking shit show, right? That's the usual. But Darren, from your point of view, how do you see the South African scene right now? Let's look in the context of Dota skill now as opposed to last year or the years past.
Well, I think the Dota scene is pretty trash and clowny. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I think I honestly think really like the Dota scene in like the previous years because it's always been like one team, be it Bravado Emotion or WRG when WRG were having their really good run, and no one else is really close to them, and they would just win
Right.
everything. And now maybe the general skill of every single team has gone down because we've lost our star players from from teams or whatever. But I think it's closer now than it's really ever been. Like teams against teams, even though all the teams are probably worse overall.
All right, that is a
Actually,
good
than
aspect
they
to
were
look at.
before.
Like, I think in the CSGO scene, it's a similar thing, right? We have Energy, we have Big Five, we have Goliath, we have like Sin 5, we have Good Gaming. Like, there's lots of teams in the CSGO team that can beat each other. Like, the skill level is really close. And like you said, like, I think the average level of skill is like gone down with the amount of players who have either retired, like from the old Bravado squad, or like the WRG guys who have went overseas, the likes of Welp and Castaway. But I do think it's like, it's a good point you make that the scene can be more competitive, right? There's also like, I think there's a gap that I'm surprised more new players haven't come in, because before it was kind of a cycle of like, oh, okay, I'm Darren, I have these 4 mates have been playing with me for the last 10 years, let me play with this one, let me play with that one. But now there's like, we're looking for players because there's a gap, right? So what do you think for like the new players? You think it's time for them to shine or something like that?
I just want to quickly answer that by saying that last weekend I realized that the team I'm playing with is exactly the same team as I played with 4 years ago, or I think
Yeah.
3 years ago. At Energy, I didn't even realize.
In
Which is funny.
2017, it is the same squad minus
Yeah,
Abdur, and now Tamir is there.
minus
TKC.
Swez, minus OD.
Oh yeah, and
actually.
minus Wiz. Because Frank was there
OD.
actually before Ardu.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's just ironic because you said like the whole I'm Darren and I'm picking my 4 friends.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
pretty
it's like
funny.
exactly the same thing.
You guys,
But
sorry, go first. Sorry to interrupt you there.
they're friends, man. Like that's if you're comfortable playing with those people, then that's how it is. That they are. I mean, at least my team plays a ton of SA pubs, and are some quite good SA pub players out there that maybe gonna find or make a team soon and show us their skill, hopefully, and they'll be good.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put it out there that you think like Darren's a guy from Energy, just won WESG, he's like a titan in SA pubs. He really isn't. Winning a SA pub with Darren on your team is like an accomplishment on its own, right? I'm just putting it out there.
Oh, dude. Yeah, sure.
But Schlinks, as like a 6.5k player yourself, or 6k now, I don't know what your MMR now, but I know you've been in the top 1,000 rank before. What do you have any advice to like new players and stuff coming up, like in the scene now where there's so many gaps?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the top right now, it's Energy. Come on, guys, you've beaten them in pubs before. You can do it. They play like a pub match, So like, I'm kidding. No, we see like some really like fresh talent coming up. Like if I just recall, like the White Rabbit Gaming squad before the tournament and before the season, actually, like beginning of the year. I wouldn't say that any of the players are very like outstanding or anything, but when we played against them, it showed how much like team chemistry matters. And I think it's also with Energy. They're all friends. They play on the same page, and I think that matters like more than like individual skill on like a team basis. You got to play together and like practice a lot, even if it's just SA pubs. So I think the prospect of like having new SA players and stuff join. I mean, even if they just do it for fun, like maybe they'll see how well they play together, and then they'll start taking more seriously and stuff. So I think it's high hopes for like new SA players for sure.
All Might, I'm just gonna put it out there, is a prediction for the next player that comes out of SA pubs.
Ooh,
It's gonna
sorry?
be what? What's the name?
All Might, like the anime. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like that.
All right. Looking else.
All right, like the next mental coming in. All right, I get that. That will be cool.
No BM, but yeah. Okay, it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna talk.
Say, come on, Darren, you brought it up. Just throw it out there.
No. I don't even know Mental that well, man. I'm not gonna fucking BM him.
All right, you're just gonna say that was Bob Yule's player of choice. He said Mental, this guy is legit. I'm bringing him into the scene, and he's gonna revolutionize it. And Goliath Gaming, credit to them, since they got him, it's been a big difference. All right, so say what you want about Mental, but Goliath's results got better. At the moment, Goliath, a bit of a shady topic, but it gets better as you guys will see going along the podcast. Okay, so obviously we spoke about some of the ups in the scene right now, but I want to know, like, what do you guys think are like big issues right now? It can be anything, like the way teams play Dota, the way tournament organizers organize their events, it could be lack of scrims. Or what do you think is the biggest issue? Nick, you can go first.
All right, thank you. Yeah, like in the past, we would firstly like I know this is a problem with the CS like scene as well, especially last year. There was a big lack of events, LAN events. Like they would say, oh, there was so many LANs that they could attend, and then I think when Bravado left or whatever, before Metal State was in the picture, there was like a big gap, like in terms of tournaments. There weren't any places to play on LAN. There weren't tournaments to play for and stuff. So I think it's been looking a little bit better now with Syntech Masters hosting a LAN, VS Gaming, and Metal State hosting events. It's really cool. But the lack of like tournaments providing for these teams is a big like issue, and we saw that with XD Gaming. So they qualified for this WSG event, and they couldn't attend the event because they didn't have the funds to attend it. And I think in 2019, like if you want SA Gaming to like get back on the map and stuff like that, you need tournaments to provide like accommodation and flights to players. Like otherwise, how can you expect them to take it seriously when they're paying out of their own pockets? And let's say a team like XC, maybe they weren't assuming they were going to come first or anything like that. How do they justify going to the event just for practice? I mean, they could scrim from home and get like similar practice. So you need incentive for these like these teams that want to like make their mark on the scene to actually be able to compete like on an equal stage. Because a lot of these players haven't had money from they don't get salaries, they don't get money from their orgs, so they have to pay out of their own pockets, and it's a big burden on them. So I think tournaments like providing for players more, like in terms of accommodation and flights. It used to happen in the past, but hopefully they bring that back, and you'll see a lot more like new talent like appearing on LAN and stuff. I think that's a big deal.
All right, that's a good point. But now, Darren, I'm going to give you the same question, but I'm going to give you Nick's question, but I'm going to flip it around a bit because I think for TOs, from the tournament organizer point of view, I mean, we've had massive investment in the years of like 2016, 2017 in Dota, right? We had many big lands. We had EG in Cape Town, the Masters weekend. People have paid flights. The accommodation was all booked out. But even that last year for Masters, that changed. Although the prize pool was a bit bigger, you guys had to pay your own ways then, and not everybody has the means of VS Gaming. Right? For other TOs, it's tough. Like flights and accommodation is usually a bigger cost than prize pools. And for TOs, we haven't really been seeing the return of investment for them. Right? Even socials, that kind of stuff, we haven't. It hasn't really grown in SA Dota. So for me, that's one of the issues. But for you as players, as a player rather, Darren, what do you think is like? Maybe ways to have maybe more low-cost events. Maybe players can meet TOs halfway, or how can we get to a middle ground where it's sustainable for both TOs and players? I know that's a hard question. Nobody actually has the answer to this, but I just like to hear your take as somebody who's been involved in the scene for a while.
I'm not a marketer, man. I always was kind of perplexed by from these tournaments, and also TOs don't make money off of this. They get sponsors to sponsor them, and the sponsors make the money, right? I mean, that's how it works.
Well, that's how it should work. How much return of investment is going to the sponsors? That's a whole other story. I mean,
yeah, for sure. And tracking that's also kind of hard. But to your question, I've always believed that. I think most of the Dota players are in Cape Town. Most of the teams, I'm pretty sure.
Not even sure.
And
I don't have data on this.
Joburg is cheaper to have tournaments in, and that's why they do it, and all their stuff's there, and to move the stuff is expensive and stuff. But it would be cool if they, hosted Dota tournaments in Cape Town. That would be quite nice, I think. Not just for myself, but the rest of the players that were here. And I think I'm almost certain that there's less than 30% of the players are in Joburg from the current top 4 teams.
All right, that's fair. I mean, the whole XD team is in Cape Town. Half your team is in Cape Town. I know Schlinks is from Cape Town. Adam is from Cape Town. So for the top 4 teams, that is very true. But obviously, there's more than 4 teams. I also had this idea. I feel like one of the issues in South African Dota, but I feel like it's become an issue in other esports because I've seen these models fail, is the league thinking, right? Obviously, VS Gaming have their mega long league that Bob's complained about multiple times, and even he's went back on that. But I feel like other tournament organizers like Metal State with the Syntech, for example, or like we had the Aces ROG Cup last year, or like Ballistics last year, I think when these guys come in, I don't think it's really worth it to host a league, even for if it's like 60,000 rand or something. I'm of the opinion that if you could have, like, let's say on one Sunday or Saturday and Sunday, you just have like one tournament, like super hype, you get 2 casters, put down like 5 or 10,000 rand prize money just for that, even left, that's 5,000 rand, don't even blow it up. What do you guys think? Is that like fun for you guys to play, or you look forward to that, or it's like you want the long leagues? Because I've seen a lot of teams not enjoying that.
I don't think anyone wants the leagues, but I'm pretty sure from a tournament organizer's perspective, leagues are better for.
But from a player's perspective, what did you prefer? Would you prefer like small cups every like let's say every second month or end of each month, or is that something would you guys think? Would you play that?
Are you talking about small online cups?
Yeah, online cups, not LANs. I think LANs is a whole other topic by itself. But just like
Okay.
online cups. Let's say Metal State hosted next month in the second weekend. They're hosting a 5,000 rand cup. Would you play that?
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I remember back in 2017 when the whole WG like took a year off and went to the gaming house. My most like fun time there in terms of like playing a tournament was one weekend where there was this like round robin event, and like it was a weekend long tournament, and it was so fun to see like scores being updated live and seeing who goes through. It's like I think there were like eight. Let's say there were 8 teams, and all the winners had to verse each other, and then from that round, all the winners versus each other, but the losers also
yeah.
played. Yeah, like the cup. That was like
Yes.
for me. That was super.
It was
hype.
the
I
Mega
really
8
enjoyed.
tournament.
That was
Tournament, right?
so good, dude. I love playing that cup, and it was just like a different experience from what we like did in the past. I think if they could do more of those, even with smaller prize pools. I mean, I think you need a balance of both. The long leagues provide you with like really good practice as well. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know about energy, but I don't know how many SA teams like scrim each other. So it's good practice to see where you lay in like where you lie amongst other SA teams to have these leagues and stuff. It's just it's pretty drawn out. I would agree with that. But yeah, if you have like maybe one long league and the rest being like really short term tournaments, I think that can be a good balance. Honestly, like if the VS holds to its schedule of having long leagues because it culminates in this big event at the end, I don't
Yeah.
really see that as being really bad. But like smaller events, like I remember like that was by far the most hype event of 2017 for me, and I just wish they did that more often.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great example. And I think VS Gaming own the league market, right? They have this massive prize pool. They've been running the league for years. Everybody knows VS League and everybody plays it. Like I know you guys all play your Masters games. You guys enjoy it. You know there's that big prize at the end. But I think for other tournament organizers, I mean the tournament you're talking about, Slicks, was the Mega 8 one, right? They had it over 2 weekends. The first weekend was the Swiss format qualifier where everybody played qualifiers, and then like you said, the top teams, like how Swiss format goes, 3-0 team plays 3-0 team, and it's just like super hype. And I remember casting it. It was one of my most fun weekends casting ever also, because just seeing good Dota for like game after game after game, it was just epic, right? And then the next weekend it wasn't a LAN, but they had that good production. They had Donnie and panel, and then there was the knockout. And like you said, the social medias was also really good. You saw updates all the time, which I think a lot of TOs could really step up on that regard as well on the socials.
Yeah, like I think I don't know how they would look at it in terms of average viewers versus like overall viewers, but I'm sure a weekend long like small event would actually get a lot of average viewers for that time period that they host it, in terms of like also like production costs. It's to have it over one weekend, or have like, let's say you have a desk or panel every single week for a league. I mean, costs would definitely be lower if you just had it over one weekend. And
Yeah.
I think viewers would actually be more interested in watching a 1 or 2 weekend long tournament than watching this drawn out league that doesn't even seem like it matters, because so many teams swap players in and out before the LAN finals even happen at the end of the like year. So yeah, I think definitely going that route for like next year, or maybe, I don't know, end of this year or something like that would be really cool.
Yeah, that's a good point. And now, before I move on to the next topic, I just want to actually touch on what Schlink said there. He brought up the topic of players moving like teams so often. Now, Schlinks, you've been a player who's been really dedicated and stayed in your teams, and had like, from as long as I remember, you were a really committed player to your teams and your teammates, right? But Darren, what's your opinion on like players moving a lot? Do you think it's a good thing? You think it's a bad thing? You think it happens too much? You think it happens too little? What's your take on that?
Can I just touch on the last topic for like?
Oh, go for
2
it. Go for it. I'm never
Okay.
going to stop you. You cut out,
I
though, Darren.
100% agree with that. Oh, okay. Am I back?
Yeah,
You can now, you can now.
you're working.
Okay. So I fully agree with the online thing. I actually think there should be less LANs in general, and they should do online, and they should do more marketing. Even if they do have LANs, I don't understand the whole lack of marketing from the VS gaming side, or I don't know if they maybe do marketing and I just don't. It doesn't get to me. But I've hardly ever see any.
I mean,
sort of
Metal
ads,
States are
and,
good
like,
on their socials from what I've seen. They're very good. VS Gaming always been a lack, like for all the years.
Sure, but like on your socials. But what about like Facebook and Instagram ads? Like, what about campaigns and stuff? Like, I didn't.
It happens.
It's weird
It
that I've never
happens.
seen anything.
Go
like
on to
that.
Metal States Instagram. Go on to their Facebook. They do it. I mean, I can fault any TO anytime, but that's not one thing you can fault Metal State on. I don't
Sure,
think.
sure. Yeah, no, so that's fine. I mean, like, I obviously, I don't know, I don't even follow them on Instagram. It's just I don't really see any ads related to sort of tournaments on any of those socials. So maybe they do.
Do you
It
mean
just doesn't,
like? Do you
doesn't
mean
reach
like
my whatever.
ads to the public, or do you mean like ads on their
No,
pages?
no, sponsored ads, ad campaigns that you pay for,
Oh, to the
that
public.
they reach yeah, they reach certain demographics that you choose. It's pretty important for like, yeah, to reach people that aren't following your pages.
Yeah,
Really
I think.
trying to, yeah. To continue with what you asked about the players moving teams thing. I mean, obviously it's bad if if players are going to keep moving teams for your, what's the word, for people watching.
Sustainability.
Yeah, no, not sustainability, for
I
people
mean,
watching and rooting for a team or whatever. It's
yeah,
hard
the
to root for a team.
consistency.
Consistency, yeah, sure. I think someone touched on this like a few years ago. It was one of the tier 1 players saying that change in teams is like needed. It's you need to do it, otherwise things get very stale. I guess it's like you meet the middle ground.
Yeah.
It's good.
Fine line.
Just don't do it.
All right. So this is the fun parts of the episode. Then we're talking about issues and stuff. Let's talk about the LAN that's coming out, the VS Gaming DGC. Now that all the teams can play, not like in the last 2 years or so where only the Prem teams can play. It's a free four master slots up for grabs there. 40,000 Rand first place prize. Are you guys excited for it? Firstly,
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it, for sure.
I'm very excited.
are you gonna come, Darren?
We're
Because
getting-
rumor has it that you're not gonna fly down. I don't know if it's true or not.
Who told you that?
TKC information, dude.
Okay, so I actually wasn't gonna fly down until Saturday because I have work and I don't like skipping it.
Right.
I took the day off because I think there's a lot of games that are gonna play on Friday because it starts in the morning and it's
Yeah.
not like the Middle State one where they're playing multiple different genres. So I sort of decided to just come on Thursday evening. But no, I'm very excited. It's pretty cool that they're having a mini LAN before the Comic-Con one.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited to sort of play against people because obviously I only got to play against Sun 5 last
Yeah.
weekend. That's it. And
There wasn't
no
a
one,
lot of Dota played that weekend.
and no one actually scrims each other in SA anymore. It's so strange. Like, I think 3 years ago, like, scrim you once or twice in the year or something, but I don't think no one scrims each other in SA anymore. They just play right away until tournaments, and then you have to like in the tournaments only.
I mean, before you used to be one of the players who used to push for scrims the most, right, Darren? You used to like playing scrims when you were in energy, etc.
Yeah, I'd ask teams, but no teams wants to scrim us. Yes, but because I don't know, I just didn't want to scrim. No teams wants to scrim.
I think the issue comes from like there's such a big emphasis on like winning and getting your only money you're gonna get in the scene for most teams at least is placing more tournaments, and you're afraid to like give away strats, kind of argument. Whereas
Both people are getting.
I know.
the same
I treated that as well. I know you could literally play a scrum and kind of, if you value yourself as the better team and versus a weaker team, you could mess around and find out more about them taking the game seriously, and you could just be like trolling, honestly. And I feel like it's way more beneficial for the better team if you don't like try hard and give away strats, and you can learn more from the weaker team that's trying to come up. But like in the pro scene, they would scrum in-house or like within their own region all the time because they get paid salaries and things, and they have to verse other regions like on the daily. Like when you go to a tournament, you're not going to verse like guaranteed, oh, we're going to play in a group of American teams, so it's like a big risk. They play people from all around the world who wouldn't know what they're going to do. So I think it's very different when you have like South Africa only playing among South Africans in tournaments. It's a risk involved with scrimming, but if you can scrim against European teams, why would you want to scrim SA teams as well? There's like that argument that you could be getting practice somewhere else and not running to that risk. So yeah,
I still don't really look at Dota that way. Like, I don't look at it like you need to hide away from your opponents.
And I don't think it's hiding either. Because, right, everybody knows everybody already because we all stalk each other's team profiles. We're watching the DGL games and shit talking in SA chat and Dota TV. Like, everybody knows the Precious Petunia Lina, right? Like, it's like that sort of thing. Like, so I don't think the hiding strats is really the big part. I don't actually know why people don't scrum anymore, to be honest. I don't think hiding strats is like a good reason not to scrum.
I mean, obviously you're gonna get some information other than just hero picks, right? Like
Yeah.
you're gonna get people play the game and they subconsciously do things, and you can kind of pick up on that. But I just think you're both gaining information, and sure, maybe one team's gaining a little bit more information than the other, but you're gonna overall make your chances of playing against the other teams better.
Yeah,
Or
that's fair.
something.
All right, so
Yeah, I just think it's a big risk involved. That like I'm not saying it's not worth it. I
Yeah.
would love to scrim out the SC teams as well, but you have to like value the risk as well. That's all.
all right, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, so let's get back to DGC here. I want to know. Okay, Nick, since you're the last guy to speak, you can give. I want to know your top 4 teams for this DGC. I think all the top teams are playing from what I saw. Oh, I know there's 5 good teams in South Africa, but I want to know your top 4. You got to make it a bit spicy, you know.
I mean,
And in
I'm just
order.
gonna go with,
And in order.
in order. All right,
Yeah.
energy on top. I think.
Ooh.
Right now, energy on top.
Okay.
We'll see after this week of scrims if that changes. But, yeah, so energy, I would say, just like this event show, like us second, and then the big question mark is for me third and fourth between WRG and Goliath, because from what I've heard, Goliath has a new player, right?
Yes, apparently Deppy's going to be joining. I saw his name down on the list in VS Gaming. Whether he's going to play this LAN or not, I have not confirmed yet. But I think if he's there, I think the Deppy factor is definitely something to take into account. Am I right in saying that, Darren?
Yeah. I mean, I actually think if Deppy plays, that Goliath is probably I want to say favored.
Really?
I think RDK is a really good player, and no flame to Rip Inc, who's playing the last tournament medalist did, but it's like with another player like Deppy, RDK's like strengths show so much more in the team.
Right.
It's like a Charles slash Castaway thing again, right? I mean,
Yeah.
It's not the same caliber, but like you shut down one and the other person just takes over the game or whatever if you put too much pressure on the on the one player. And like the reason Goliath didn't really do that well last tournament, but they did actually almost beat Energy.
Yeah, in one game for sure. They were like one range racks off having mega creeps and almost took throne at a point.
But I mean, chosen on well, whatever. Okay, maybe it wasn't his fault, but the alchemist thing did not work out very well. He's gonna play me.
Okay, let me just tell the viewers who are listening to this podcast what happened. So Chosen One, the carry for Energy, was playing Alchemist, and at a point he was like, "Guys, I'm unkillable. Watch me. I'm gonna walk into 5 and I can't die." And he went 1 versus 5 and he died. But sorry, carry on, Darren. I just had to put that out there.
Didn't die. He became beaten, walked back to base. He thought he was gonna die. He took his hands off the keyboard, and then he survived.
Oh, he didn't die. What?
You're talking about top lane.
I don't remember. I was working the event. I just heard the legends.
Yeah, so he actually knew they were there, and he like walked into base, but knew that MK had 25 or something.
Yeah.
He like BK beat and started walking back to base, but he thought he had died, so he took his hands off the keyboard and stuff because I think he didn't have buyback. He just survived against 5 people and walked back.
Right.
That's crazy. Anyway, yeah. So back to my predictions. I think Goliath have the strongest chance of winning, or it's maybe us. It depends if Sin 5 are practicing new heroes. It depends if they have new heroes and new bands and stuff. But I actually think Sin 5 are obviously like a very scary team if they come in prepared for the team. I think because they're probably smarter players than Goliath overall.
I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, what did you say? I missed that. No, you said we what players?
Smarter.
Oh, wow, okay. I don't know, I'm pretty Papaga, dude, so like, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Like,
I'm full Papaga.
The other players carry you, man.
As usual, dude, as usual.
But yeah, I actually think I would put Goliath really high up. I'd put Goliath in 1-2. I'd put us in, or Energy in 1-2 as well. And then Sin 5, if they come in prepared, also 1-2. Am I allowed to do that? I'm allowed to say like a 1-2
No,
three-way tie?
dude. What are you trying? Make it a
like
top
it.
3 then.
I like it, but you gotta be concrete, dude. I want your Darren's fucking out
I
there
don't
prediction 1, 2, 3. Because I like
think
I
like
like your thinking so far, but be hard on it, man. Be
the
bold,
thing is like
Darren.
we don't actually practice at all. I genuinely just play these tournament games. That's it. I don't play
And you
outside
play
it.
like 5 SA pubs a day. Don't even lie about that.
I will screenshot to my profile right now. Laugh at if I play it. I
You
feel
know-
like once every week, dude. I just play StarCraft with Nikki.
That is
That's
a
it.
lie, okay? But that's enough. That's enough. But I want to go back to your point on Goliath before you give your ratings because I know you're gonna waffle before you give that. And you're still thinking, right? But I think Goliath with Deppy is a good point you make, right? Because at the moment RDK is, I mean, he's the bullet, right? He's a scary man in South African Dota. He's been known for carrying teams for years. But then you have that Deppy factor. I mean, Deppy was an 8K MMR player in C. He's coming back with that mad experience. I mean, I think you can see from having Filthy Frank, a fellow 8K player, in your team now as opposed to how he was last year. Like, he's grown a lot in that time, right? So Deppy, the level of knowledge he's going to bring in the team and the level of sheer skill he has, it's going to be scary for sure. I think that the dynamic changes completely there. What do you think about that, Nick?
Firstly, Mark was a 7999.
Oh, yeah,
player,
true.
not a
Fucking 7K dog.
Yeah, I think these players, they bring a lot of experience coming from C. It's just that I don't know if they've been practicing with Deppy, right? So I think it plays a huge factor to gel well with your team. I think that's the strongest point of energy. Like, sure, maybe they don't play scrims often, but they are. To me, it seems like playing against them, they're all on the same page. And I mean, I do think that we showed a really poor performance on last weekend. But regardless, they like punish us in every right area. So they capitalize on our mistakes, and only a team on the same page will be able to do that. So we'll have to see how, I guess, seriously Goliath practice, because I don't think just being good is going to be enough. That's just what I think.
All right, that's fair. So I want to ask you guys a question about the bottom two teams. Let's say 4 and 5, right? We have XD and WRG. WRG said you really feared them coming into WESG. So coming into this land, obviously they lost to you guys in WESG, but this land, you think they're going to come a bit more prepared? Why are they a scary team in your opinion, Nick?
Just like I said with Energy, I think they seem like they all play on the same page as well. I did hear there were like some issues at that event where they didn't, get to show their best performance. But I mean, I don't know, that team is actually I think they must practice a lot because they're all pretty high skilled. Like, I didn't really rate them at the start of the year, and then they beat us like online.
Yeah,
and that was a big wake up call for us. So I think between them and XD, I actually saw an interesting result between Energy and XD. I don't know how what the circumstances were, but they apparently
God.
seemed to almost take a game of Energy. So
You don't want to know. You don't want to know the
all right,
circumstances.
let me know what happened, dude. Like, spill the beans here.
Okay, so last weekend, 2 weekends ago, we were all sitting in the house and we were thinking up strategies for Sun 5. And we were just jokingly saying that we're just gonna.
You cut off there, Darren.
Oh, okay. We were in the house and we were just jokingly saying that we're gonna creep skip 3 waves when we were thinking of strategies against Sun 5. And then anyway, we were all just talking about it, and we spoke about it for half an hour, and we just kept refining a strategy that you never go to lanes, and you just keep farming, you keep creep skipping 3 waves, and they can't ever they can only stop one person at a time, right? So you die all the time, but you're getting lots of farm. You have 2 junglers and 3 creep skippers. And that's what we sort of tried against XD in the second game, because I mean, it's not like we were joking around. Well, we kind of are joking around, but we just wanted to try it and see how it did, because we had a game buffer if we lost that one to go to game 3. Somehow we ended up winning, even though we were pretty sure we were gonna lose the entire game. I think they threw with the Ulk bio back. So,
Yeah.
we're just trying something.
Doing some clowny shit, yeah.
What?
So hearing that, I think between, if you're asking who's 4th and 5th, I would say WG is 4th.
I think
And then
quite
XD
a long margin as well.
Yeah.
That WG beats out XD.
I mean, if WG shows up, I think they can honestly take games off some of the the top 3 teams for sure. It's just they took the first game against us last weekend as well. So I mean, it all depends on whether they play their game. I think it's similar to us. I mean, we had like really terrible games last weekend, in my opinion, and we could be number 5 team at the end of this land. It just depends on the day how we play. Honestly, it's not a guaranteed top 3 or anything like that. I don't believe that.
All right.
I agree. I
That's
think
fair.
it's the same with us as well.
Yeah, Dota is a wild game. It could be great one day, bad the other day. And I kind of like the distinction that the gap between WRG and XD is quite big, because if you look at XD on paper, I mean, they have a lot of good players, right? They got Jarek, they got Fearbender. I mean, a lot of guys that we saw last year playing in the Epoch team that was also, I mean, they took a couple of games of you guys, Nick, at WRG. So obviously
Yes,
the
we know.
WRG, yes. So
That's Atlantic suit. We know,
Yeah.
dude.
I wipe
It's a
that whole player
disaster.
land out of my mind.
oh yeah, you were also playing there, Darren. It was funny.
Oh my
But-
god.
And we practice so much what they live in. But anyway, let's move on from that.
Yeah,
They
let's
really
move on. Let's talk about XD, right? XD. Forget Epoch, forget that. Talk about XD now. So I played, obviously, I was playing in the Syntech thing with Tamir. He used to just carry us every game. But like the games against XD, like they beat us. They beat us 2-1 once, and then they beat us 2-0 the next. But like it was, they weren't beating us the way they should. Like we had one good player in our team, and that was Tamir, and we smashed the first game against them. In the next game, I threw a game with a bad buyback, and it's like super close series. And then game 3, I also threw because I'm bad. But like I think the gap is quite big. Like where do you see like some issues with the team? Because I think the way they played the map and stuff against us, because we were shit, was like way ahead of us. But the way they executed their team fights and stuff was like not really that good. Like we used to win every single team fight against them, it felt like.
I don't think that they have like how to play the game when it goes past like 30 minutes, just from the game that I played against them, or the best of 3, or that we played against them last night.
Right.
TBM. Maybe it was just a game. Honestly, it just seems like that.
I guess late game decision making is like the difficult part of Dota, right? Anybody can... Sorry, carry on.
Their players are quite good. Sorry to cut you off. I think their players are quite good. I think they're okay in like lane stages and stuff. They fall apart really easily.
Okay, that's a fair statement. Nick, from your experience playing against XD, you got any thoughts on them?
Yeah, about that, I can't remember the last time I versed them. So honestly, I don't have any like a formulated opinion on them, because I just don't recall versing them. Like, I don't know. Maybe we're supposed to be scheduled to verse them soon, but yeah, sorry, I haven't actually versed them recently, and I haven't watched their matches. Like social media and stuff. I don't know their matches on.
All right.
I'm kidding, but I'm not really sure. It's like a wild card team for me, I guess. I'm not sure yet.
All right. Well, I think it's been a good one, boys. I think it's been a good one. Darren, you still need to give your 1 to 4 legit now. Like, be bold. Both of you. Darren, go first, though.
Skipping this. Yeah. So I'm just gonna put Ian at first because I want us to win, obviously.
All right.
So I'm gonna
No
put Ian
bias
first.
there. First, energy. Right. Second.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna put Goliath as second, and then Sun5 as third, and then WGXD.
All right. Nick, come on.
So,
don't
I
let
thought-
him say that.
I thought this was like a current power rank. Okay, so after this week of intense scrimming, I think we're gonna upset and shake up the whole Dota scene, and we're gonna come first.
You guys are the favorites. You're not upsetting nobody, my guy.
No Kappa, we are coming first. Okay.
Okay, nice.
I think Energy will come second, and Goliath third.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's just what I think.
All
We'll
right.
see how it goes, and then WG fourth.
Okay. I can respect that. Any last parting words before we close up the podcast, gents?
Good luck this
Hopefully
weekend, dude.
Hopefully Aghanim has more than Red King as Juggernaut as his 2 heroes now.
We'll see, man.
Oh, we'll see. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening.